Star Wars Jedi Survivor finally looks quite a bit better with the latest gameplay coming out from Jedi Survivor hands-on gameplay previews. We're going to be looking at some of the new footage. We've got video footage, a very lengthy footage amount from Game Informer, but I also am going to be putting all the good information right here at the beginning of the video so you don't have to watch the entire thing. This is a live stream, so the videos do get a little bit long, but that gives you an opportunity to get all of the good details right here at the beginning, and hopefully you hit subscribe and the bell button and can enjoy my other shows. So the latest Jedi Survivor hands-on gameplay has given us even more details about stances, combat, traversal, and customization. Many people pointing to just how much better this footage actually looks compared to the first few times we saw gameplay. It looked a little bit clunky and it looked a little bit dated. Like it was like, did this actually update the game? If you actually look at side-by-side comparisons between Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, you can see significant graphical upticks, and now I think some of the animations look better as well. So in this video, I do want to talk about the stances and how they've got them set up to be a little bit more like Sekiro and a little bit less like Ghost of Tsushima. Many of us heard the 5 stances and immediately thought of Tsushima. I'm going to tell you about why I think there'll be a difference there. Second, there is a Sony blog claiming that this has been optimized for the PS5 in a handful of ways, most notably the PS5 DualSense controller. Third, they are offering what looks like true customization this time around, which is a welcome change after so many parkas in the first game. Lastly, the devs use the term video game soup with respect to just how much they have added to the game, and I think overall the gameplay looks significantly better than and even smoother than some of the gameplay we have seen up to now. They gave media outlets the opportunity to record some of their own footage while also providing B-roll. I do think that because of lack of experience, that can lead to some awkward or bad gameplay, which may have been the case with some of the early looks at the game. People don't really know what they're doing. I remember being a little bit clunky and awkward with Forspoken when I played the demo because you're suddenly late in the game and you don't know what you're doing. So I also want to point out the fact that they are letting you keep your powers from the previous game. Quote, "We knew we wanted his skills to continue in Survivor, and that was one of the challenges. We had to kind of tweak enemies to handle his new powers from the start. We don't want to take away those moves because they feel good. You can't go backwards and feel like a Padawan. It has to feel like the power level is the same, but also you have to reach another level." So I think that is a great take. I think many times when you play a game like this, people joke that like it's almost like you hit your head and you forget everything that you learned in the last game. I really liked how they set up the first game with sort of reconnecting with the Force and getting your powers back. I thought that was a very, very cool way that they set it up. And I thought this Rancor fight was also a really, really great look at just how much they've added to the game with size, scope, and graphical fidelity. I think the Rancor looks absolutely fantastic. But you'll notice down in the left-hand corner, Cal has 2 stances equipped, and I want to talk about how this game is going to be more like Sekiro and less like Tsushima. The 5 stances are as follows. There is single, double-bladed, dual-wield, crossguard, and blaster. Your single lightsaber is the standard balanced all-rounder option. Double-bladed's good for crowd control if you're familiar with, and he dies that time around. If you're familiar with the first game, the double-bladed is basically like the Darth Maul. It's really, really good for crowds if a lot of people are around you. Dual-wield is 1 in each hand, and it's great for high octane and versatile combat, but it requires finesse. Crossguard is powerful but slow. It's like the big heavy sword kind of looking lightsaber. And then the blaster is great for dealing with enemies at a distance and pestering foes. So those are your 5 stances, but you can only have 2 equipped at a given time. You can see down in the corner, you're going to hit left or right on the D-pad to swap between them, up on the D-pad to heal, down on the D-pad for BD1. Now, these 5 stances are not going to be like Tsushima. You're not going to be in the middle of a fight and suddenly decide that, oh, hey, I think that this fight's going to go really good for, you know, a lightsaber in each hand. If you don't have that equipped, then you can't do it. You can see here, you must meditate to change which stances are equipped. So this is something that's going to be a little bit more like Sekiro in my mind. You're going to lose a fight, you're going to learn a bunch of valuable lessons, and then you're going to go back, you're going to meditate, and you're going to change. Oh, I wanted you to see this as well. These are actual skill trees for each of the individual stances. So also your favorite ones you can end up, investing quite a bit more time in or crafting them the way that you want. So in my mind, I envision this not quite being like that seamless transition that you have in Tsushima, where in the middle of a boss fight or a duel, you could say, oh, hey, this fight seems like it's going to be really good for crossguard. No, you're probably going to lose. You're going to die, especially if you have the difficulty turned up, and then you're going to have to go back, meditate, and change to the stance that you think would be the best. Now, they basically said from the beginning that they weren't going to tell you which enemies were best suited for the stances. Unlike Ghost of Tsushima, which basically tells you this stance is perfect for somebody with a spear, this stance is perfect for somebody with a shield, Jedi Survivor is not going to tell you. So not being able to adapt on the fly to a fight because you only have those two stances equipped will fundamentally make this game have its own identity. Now, some people don't like that. A PC Gamer took issue with it in their review. They felt like it was arbitrary. Just let me use all 5 stances instead of only having 2. I think one of the main reasons they're doing that is you're actually changing your lightsaber in order to do the different stances. It's not like Ghost of Tsushima where you just sort of change the way that you're standing or holding the katana. You're actually, in this game, the lightsaber itself is fundamentally changing in order to achieve that. So while many of the previews in games say that it feels like less of a Souls game this time around, I think the game flow will be more reminiscent of boss runs from games like Sekiro or Dark Souls, because of the absence of that stance swapping. PC Gamer even said, judging by the opening hours of Jedi Survivor, Uncharted Souls is not what Respawn is going for anymore. They were primarily talking about map design and traversal. They've upgraded traversal to a certain degree. They didn't design the game, they said in one interview, around fast travel, but fast travel is really sort of changing that feeling of, oh, this is like a Souls game where if I don't get all the shortcuts, traveling around is a dadgum nightmare, like those of us who remember Dathomir and never really wanted to go back. That is definitely something that will change in this game. So I do still think it's going to maintain its predecessor of having visceral, challenging, melee-based combat, especially for those of us that maybe like to turn up the difficulty, and I do think that's going to be more reminiscent of Sekiro and Dark Souls because you only have the 2 stances. Now, they went on to say in a PlayStation blog that this game has been optimized for PS5. They sat down with Stig Asmussen, game director at Respawn, and he had the following to say about the controller. With the PS5, we're really digging the haptics and what the controller is bringing, and it's been a lot of fun to see how that works with push and pull force powers. I really think that people are very dismissive of what the DualSense and the haptic feedback can bring to games. Even Final Fantasy XVI added wind direction that you're going to feel in the controller during cinematics, and I think force powers and lightsabers are a great place to implement these features. This is what he had to say. You're going to feel it on the triggers when you're doing a push and a pull. If you really push the triggers, you're going to have a different response compared to if you lightly feather them, and the game is going to react to that. It's this nuance within the vibrations of the controller that's pretty outstanding. This kind of stuff can actually be kind of annoying if you mess it up. I tend to panic squeeze my triggers, but it can also be an immersive feature to connect you more with what's happening. And they also said that they did this in conjunction with their audio team. Quote, our audio team and our combat team is really dialed into how the things that are happening into the world, the effects and everything that are like translating into how it feels in your hands. Now, this obviously may get eye rolls from non-PS5 owners, but this is just the sort of thing that Sony wants in the headlines of big game releases. And now let's look at customization. You might get a look at the customization in this footage if it gets far enough into the footage, because this is something that everybody, I think, is going to celebrate. The previous game offered very limited customization and a whole lot of parkas, and this time it's far more robust. The PlayStation blog had the following to say, Cal now has the option to change hairstyles, rock some facial hair, and switch up his clothing to take him from space cowboy to galactic entrepreneur. With a more customizable Cal, lightsaber, and even your droid buddy BD1, it's possible no 2 players will look exactly the same. And based on what we've seen in this Game Informer gameplay, it'll get to that spot eventually. I actually think they're right. I think it'll be rare for 2 Cal's and BD to look exactly alike because there's so many different combinations just in the little bit that we've seen from this footage. Now, this might seem like a small thing and maybe even something that just should be assumed in games, but I think this is a nice jump from the last game because if I'm playing an RPG, I want to make the character look a certain way. Now, within reason, right? Obviously, if you watch this footage long enough, you're going to see they put a mullet on our boy, and he looks a little goofy, but he definitely can look much different than sort of the out-of-the-box parka-doting character from the first game. Now, lastly, what do the video game developers mean by video game soup? That might be a little bit concerning. Asmussen closed the interview with Sony by talking about the various games that they have borrowed from. This game is built on the fundamentals of the best games that we played throughout our lifetime, like the things that we point out in other games. Can we make that work in Star Wars? It's kind of soup, right? And you're about to get a look at some of the customization in this footage here. Now, at first, you might hear this about video game soup and think this is a bad idea. The game's not going to have a distinct identity. But given how much the first game borrowed from Souls as well as Metroidvania games, I actually welcome this. And even though they seem to have borrowed one of my favorite things from one of my favorite games, Ghost of Tsushima, the stances, they seemingly are committed to doing it in their own way. I'm seeing some long hair there. That's always exciting. Make him look a little bit more like a rough and tumble Jedi from the Outer Rim or something. Now, their commitment to doing stances in their own way, I think it might annoy some people, but I think it's a very good decision. So while the game seems to be leaning more towards Sekiro and Soul-style combat, where you have to kind of go back and meditate and change your build before diving back into the boss fight again, rather than sort of the on-the-fly adaptation of Ghost of Tsushima, the combat, traversal, and freedom, and even the customization have definitely brought this game forward in really, really big ways. So let me give you my thoughts and my conclusions. So first and foremost, Jedi Survivor is not just adding new features, they seem to be improving the game at every level. The gameplay and animations look much better this go around, and the hands-on gameplay previews are mostly positive. PC Gamer actually agreed with me to a certain degree about the design choice to only allow the two stances at a given time. They saw it as a negative. They didn't like the fact that I got to go back to a meditation spot to change my stances. This was something that they found to be a little bit irritating or arbitrary, but I do think this is a design decision that will keep you from just kind of always having every trick under the sun, every trick under your hat. I think this will lead to a very different approach than Tsushima, but I think it will likely give this game its own identity and feel. Number two, true customization being brought to the game is something that fans, I think, will likely celebrate. The absence of parkas and genuine customization choices and options will help this game lean into its RPG elements. Especially considering all 5 stances have their own skill trees, the game should feel a lot more like a fully orbed RPG experience. So my conclusion is, Jedi Survivor looks to be like one of the strongest releases this year and is also one of the many new waves of next-gen only titles. 2023 seems to be the year for the next-gen hinge to finally turn, and hopefully Jedi Survivor can bring the heat. And that is the show open. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys supporting us so much. Appreciate you guys watching in the different avenues to watch. We got 20 people watching on Kick. We got over 300 people watching on YouTube. Make sure you're smashing the like button. I am not streaming on the Tickety Talk because I can't show gameplay over there because they won't give us a stream key. And this is another thing they haven't really explained all that well. They haven't really gone into great detail about this. We don't really know what this is or what this means. You can plant these things. It's like you have like a home base. There's almost like a base building element. Like you go back and you can do different things. They said there was like a town building thing as well, but I don't exactly know what it's going to do for you in the game. And here you can get a glimpse at just some of the actual lightsaber, lightsaber customization is a little bit more involved this time. You can do, change multiple different parts and pieces. You can see it looks like there's a total of there's 3 on each side, and then there's the middle. So, 7 total pieces, including the middle, and have it all match or have it be mismatched, whatever you feel like. From Space Cowboy to Space Cow Daddy. I know, yeah. I do like the white. I really like the white lightsaber, though. I don't think could you do white in the last one? I don't think you could. I think you could only do colors. Here you're going to get a glimpse at the fact that you can change what BD looks like. You can give him like a different different eyes, and then you can give them a different head, and they stop. They don't go beyond that. I really wanted to see what that red one was going to look like. And then this is when you can see, like, they've really allowed you to make yourself look really, really nice as a character. I hope they have tons of outfits in this. Obviously, I'm a fan of being able to put a beard on Cal, and they go with the worst one in the bunch. I swear they intentionally make him look bad here. We were going to get a glimpse at some of the other hairstyles and longer hairstyles, but they go with whatever in the world this is. I don't know. Truck driver Cal at your disposal here with his welding glasses. He's ready to rock and roll. But I do think this just goes to show you can really customize your look. You can really make yourself look the way that you prefer. Even just changing, the color of your pants, I think is nice because there's multiple different kinds. Now, did they have that set? I wonder, did they have that color thing down there? Yeah, the color seems to be locked. Yeah. Oh, no. See, right there. So on that first one, he can change. Let me go to the other side. Hang on. Let me move myself to the other side. So he can change the color of the top. You can see there. He's got multiple options here. So even this top, if you like it, you can actually change it between, who knows if it's just 6 colors to choose from. Now, these ones, the colors are locked, so maybe that's something that you unlock, or maybe that's just something that some outfits don't have that level of customization. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, for the game to come out. Party in the back. Yeah, business up front, party in the back. So he's rocking the mullet in this footage here. Let me get the YouTube goal on screen and get it reset. You guys crushed it yesterday, and if you guys want to have another friendly competition, we're gonna have to change this to white. You can't see it. You cannot see it at all. There we go. There. You guys can have your friendly competition between YouTube and Kick. What do you guys think of the footage? It's not that bad. I think the mullet's pretty bad. I honestly felt like most of the customization could have just been left out of the previous games, as it was so shallow. It didn't really add anything substantive to the experience. It almost became an insult, Valiant, because you would do all of this searching, climbing, navigating. That white lightsaber just looks so good. You would do all of that, right? You would do all this searching, you do all this navigating, do all this different stuff, and then you'd get a parka. You know what I'm saying? It would have been like, I think, a little bit better if you would have been able to get, things that seemed to matter, or things that actually made your gameplay better. Just the white glow off that, I think, really looks nice. It was almost like it made it worse. It was like, well, I went to all the trouble defeating this boss, or went to all the trouble to finding this secret, and I got another poncho, right? As long as the town building, it's kept minor when compared to the story. Story matters. Well, the guy that was talking throughout this Game Informer footage, he was doing a really good job of saying, I don't want to say too much, because he said the story is really, really good. So he was actually really trying to keep his input to a minimum. He didn't want there to be a any major spoilers. There we go. We got the kick goal and the YouTube goal. Who wants to kick this off today? Who wants to be the first order a coffee as well? We'll keep looking at the gameplay. There's lots of gameplay out there. There's lots of outlets that got access. There's tons and tons of footage. The general consensus from everybody seems to be that the game feels really good. One thing that somebody brought up was the wall running. They said that the wall running no longer has this like downward trajectory where like as soon as you hit the wall you feel like you're going down. They said that he generally runs in a straighter line now, and that just made that better. Just little things like that to improve and advance the traversal. I stopped caring about getting cosmetics. It didn't cross the line of detracting from my experience, but I can see how it would for some. It'd be nice if the poncho gave perks like RE4 Remakes charms. Excited for this game. Looks like big improvements all over an already enjoyable game. Yo, it's good, Kenneth. Story matters to some people. I have no clue what was going on in the first game. Still enjoyed it. Oh my gosh, the first game was incredible. What do you mean you had no idea what was going on? It was a very straightforward story. He was in hiding, right? You had flashbacks to him surviving Order 66. He kept sort of he was reestablishing his connection with the Force, and they were hunting down and looking for the Jedi. And so he gets discovered very early in the game. Like, you know, you playing for maybe 15 minutes and he gets discovered, has to defend his buddy. And by defending his buddy, he gets exposed. They basically stole all of the major story beats of Jedi Fallen Order. They stole them all and they put them into Obi-Wan, right? Like going around and hunting for the Jedi. That opening sequence is so similar to how Jedi Fallen Order starts. And the way that Jedi Fallen Order ends in that base, and then, oh no, the water might flood this corridor. That was in Obi-Wan. They basically stole all of the major story elements from this and put them into Obi-Wan. It was hilarious. It was like, I guess they're counting on people that watch Obi-Wan didn't play this game or didn't pay attention, I guess. Mo says, this game looks dope. I'll play it when it hits Game Pass. I don't know if this game is hitting Game Pass. Whoever said that played the volume in their monitor off. Yeah, I don't know how you missed the major story elements. I love this. I love the way the Rancor comes out. Kaboom! He's really angry. He like throws that rock into the pillar. I also love how they're not afraid to just put some of the bigger monsters in the game. They're like, yeah, you're going to fight a Rancor. Enjoy it. It'll be on EA Play. Yeah, I don't know if they'll put it on Game Pass because that would be a bit of a conflict with EA Play. I mean, that's going to be one of the challenges of subscription gaming is you're going to have lots of subscription services somewhat competing with each other. I'm getting flashbacks of the throat singing band. That was dope. I'm not sure what you're talking about. They said that if we get a Jedi Room of Requirement, that would be dangerous. It will after a few months. I mean, nobody has said that, so I don't know why you're thinking that. I bought my games for the year. That's fine. Don't come here and start that, Mo. Seriously, tap out. I don't even want to do this with you today, dude. We're here talking about Jedi, and you immediately had to bring up, I'm going to play when it's on Game Pass. Cool. Tap out, bro. Just tap out. The story was pretty easy to follow, not like Souls game where you have to read the lore to put it all together. Lona, your opinion on the gear still being cosmetic only? Well, I don't think this is a game that centers around gear. I think this is a game that centers around abilities and finesse. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it centers around abilities and finesse. It doesn't center around gear. I don't see how you would make a game like, what are you going to do? Find a better lightsaber? Are you going to find a better blaster? Do you see what I'm saying? I don't necessarily think you can do that, right? I don't think you can have a game where you're toting around a blaster and a lightsaber and you're like finding gear. I mean, I guess you could have him find armor maybe or something to wear that like helps him. But then I always get frustrated by that. Like, one of the things I would love for Ghost of Tsushima to do is to bring a transmog system. Because in my mind, there were amazing outfits in Tsushima that if you wanted to actually get the benefits, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't wear certain outfits. Because you kind of had your outfit, you had your thing that you liked wearing, and you couldn't if you wore the thing that you liked wearing, then you wouldn't get all the abilities that you wanted. So I actually don't like when they do that in games like this. I don't think you want to do that. Let's take a look at the skill tree here. Guys, we are 23 minutes in. Make sure you have smashed the like button on YouTube. Consider gifting a member or becoming a member. Get us started with our member goal every day, being 25 on each platform. I want to take a look at the menu here. So they're teaching you about meditation points and resting and your skill tree. Okay, you can spend your skill tree. I actually like the way they make the skill tree look this time around. English O with 19 months. No terrible jokes this month. Just huge thanks for the awesome shows every day. Really help the workday pass by, even if I keep being pulled into chat. Well, thank you, English O, for 19 months and for doing a member plus. I appreciate that. There we go. So It looks like when you go to meditate, okay, he's got 4 skill points available. He's not spent them yet. But you got stances, you can rest, skills, and training. So let's see if they go into everything. So right here they say, here's your current lightsaber stances, single and double-bladed. All right? So he goes in, and you can see a classic balanced approach to combat, reliable in all situations. And you can see the bars here, power, speed, range, defense. That's the bottom one, defense. They're all just right down the middle. And then double-bladed is highly mobile, energetic approach to combat, best for dealing with many enemies at once. Its power is a little bit weaker, but its speed and defense are up at the loss of range. So if you've ever used it, you kind of keep the lightsaber close to your body and kind of swing it quickly. It's good for when you kind of get surrounded, right? The hardest difficulty in the first one was hell, but it was fun. I went right below the hardest difficulty, Mo. I didn't want to go higher than that because at the time, I had never played a Souls game. I had never played like a Sekiro-style game, so I was kind of easing into, more challenging combat. And I actually really, really enjoyed the second to hardest difficulty. I thought it was really good. I found the group fighting to be frustrating, even on normal. That was the main thing preventing me from trying the harder modes. Yeah, you just kind of spam the double blade. Okay, so here he goes down to dual wield. So I think you start the game with these 3. I believe they have said that. So you start the game with these 3 because these are the 3 from the previous. So you don't lose any force powers. And you don't lose any of the available stances. Now, keep in mind, dual wield was not a stance in the last one. It was more of like a finisher that you did. It wasn't anything that special. A purely offensive approach to combat. Overwhelm enemies with a flurry of strikes. Abort attacks by pressing LB. You'll notice that his speed is all the way maxed out, and it does maintain good power. Its power is in the middle, just like single use. So you're not sacrificing power, but you're sacrificing range and defense. And they have talked about that dual wield is kind of a high-risk, high-reward option, because you're going to be able to have the parries and the aborting of attacks. I think that's going to be the one for people that really like the more Sekiro style, the more moment-to-moment. So, dual wield and blaster. I don't think you start with blaster or crossguard. I think you start with these 3. I believe they said you start with 3 stances and that you do start off with all of your force powers. They don't want you to lose anything, is kind of what they said. Okay, so he clicked on skills, not training. So skills brings him to survival, lightsaber, and force. This is where he'll obviously be spending his skill points. So he goes to lightsaber. And within lightsaber are your stances. There's single, there's double-bladed, there's dual-wield, and the others he doesn't have yet. They're cracked. It's like they're cracked over here off to the side. Okay, so he's going to go to dual-wield and focus parry, split reflection. So it looks like it's going to take 2 skill points for split reflection. It's 1 skill point for the focused parry. Now, did he click on anything in the first? Yeah, so double-bladed, he has Gathering Tempest is like the first one down at the bottom. It's 1 point, and he hasn't purchased that one yet. And he slides over here. Focus parry looks like it's off to the side on the left. And then he goes up into the middle. Split reflection is 2. Down here is backstep slash. Thank you, Ryan, for 1 month of membership. Let's go. Pretty hyped for this. I don't know if I should be, but it reminds me of old school Star Wars game, but better. Yo, thanks for renewing your membership, guys. Make sure you're smashing the like button. Get us to 200 likes. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for everybody for tuning in and being here. We're checking out brand new Star Wars Jedi Survivor gameplay, and we are looking at the skill tree here. Backstep slash. If you hold LB and press X to attack and leap backwards, creating distance from the target. So he's going to go ahead and buy that, and they're going to show it to us here. So he's got both of his blades out. All right. And let's see what it looks like. I don't understand. Oh, there it goes. Oh, they're not going to show the video. Okay, uncoiled strikes. You delay X input to perform a flurry of quick targeted swings. That was always good. There was one like that in the last game where you would delay the button press and you would do like this spinning stab thing. You would like in the middle of the fight get like a really heavy hit on them. It was like a level 6 in episode 2 and level 9 in episode 3. Hopefully the skill progression is sort of like Anakin from Attack of the Clones and the Clone Wars and then Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, I mean, they say you're keeping everything coming into this one. Okay, so he spent that one. So perform a spinning strike on releasing Y. So that one's kind of funky. You hold down Y to like have your saber like hovering in front of you. I'm not really sure what's going on, but that's what he's doing there. So he goes in there. He's not meditating anymore. He's going to wander around now. Hold LB, but when I press LB, I cancel my move. I can see myself screwing that up. I don't know if you... right. Yeah, but I think you press LB in the middle of like swinging and doing stuff is pretty much how they have it set up. So, not sure what's happening. If you guys are having any issues on YouTube, I'm not sure what's going on. We have not had any issues as of late because I've been streaming at normal latency, but it looks like we might be having some issues. If you're having to refresh... That's not on my end. Just sometimes you have to either lower quality or refresh the stream. And this guy he's fighting, they said that the one guy was saying he liked fighting this guy because he had like a lot of different moves and stuff that you could get on the side of him and do different things. So he said he enjoyed those fights. You can kind of see there how the wall running... See how he doesn't drop? He doesn't like get to the end and like like lose his height. Although one of the pieces of footage I saw that was something that seemed to be happening. Like he was still kind of doing that at the trail end, but yeah. Health essence acquired. Okay, so he got a health essence by meditating there. That's a beefy health bar for a non-boss. Well, sometimes in the last game, you would come across like bosses like that. They weren't like a boss like with a name, but they were basically the boss of that area. You know, like a spider might show up. And then there's these little speed trials. These were not in the last game. You can see up in the corner the timer's going, and he's obviously dealing with, you know, this little force field thing as a timer. Is it triggering on his jumps sometimes? No, it's not. I thought it was changing on his jumps. The timing of that is rough. Games do like to make you face early game bosses as normal mobs too sometimes. Yeah, and they seemed like they enjoyed that in the first game. They enjoyed like creating this element of you kind of go into an area and you don't really know if there's a boss. You don't really know if you're tracking anybody, but yeah, almost 400 people on 185 likes. Yeah, let's get the likes going, chat. This will probably be the last time I cover this game until it comes out. I was a little hesitant to cover this due to the last couple times we've tried to cover this, but I think we have our answer. We'll probably play this game day of. I'll showcase the gameplay. Show people kind of how the game works, and then we'll probably move on from it. Some games we just like to give you guys updates on. We like to give you like quick coverage and quick looks, and you know, give you the lowdown. But this isn't going to be one that gets a ton of airtime here, just because that's not really our focus. These kind of games are awesome. They remind me of like Ghost of Tsushima. They remind me of like, you know, the classic action adventure games that I love, but they won't ever be like a center frame. I don't think we'll ever be like playing a game like this to completion. We tried that with Horizon Forbidden West and God of War, and I think we've generally gotten the answer from the sub base here on how people will treat this game, and that's just something I'm letting y'all know. You'll be able to see this probably day one with me, and then I'll probably play this on my couch, just because generally speaking, the talk show is our main focus here. So this is I thought this was worth covering because we got like a good amount of info. We got a good look at some of the new things that we could do. But you got, you know, we're getting some clear communication from interest, which I always accept. And honestly, there's so many games coming out this year. That's going to generally be our approach, is like, here's some new gameplay, here's some new details, we'll check it out launch day, and then that'll probably be the gist of it. You saw one of those boxes there, he flew past it. right? It's right here. So when this game releases, you guys can look forward to seeing like that day one gameplay. We'll check out optimization. We'll check out performance. We'll check out, okay, what's the first couple of hours look like? Because I generally think that's a new method of climbing, right? That's a new method of climbing. Just jump off your little bird there. Kiltson's going to start things off with a gifted member. Thank you so much, Kiltson, for that. Putting us on the board. Thank you, Kiltson. It went to Big Lido. Whoever wants to jump on that, get us close to our daily sub goal. You sounded so much more hyped about it a few weeks ago. Well, I am hyped, but that's the thing, the elements of the game, I didn't want to do a puff piece, right? I'm not going to sit here and be like, hype man. I think the game looks amazing. I did I don't even know how many pages that was. I did a 13-page opening monologue about all of the things that sound good and sound like they're improving it. I wonder if people are going to feel that way about the 5 stances, right? I wonder if people are going to feel that way. Are they going to feel like, I wish I had all 5 stances at all times, or are they going to accept only 2 stances at once, right? No problem just paying it forward. Thank you, Kiltson. Yeah, I don't think I'm less hyped than I was a few weeks ago. I mean, in fact, the last time we covered this, generally speaking, people were being kind of negative about it. They were like, oh, the animations look clunky, and he looks kind of derpy, he looks kind of goofy. And even I pointed it out in one of my reaction videos. I was like, yeah, oh, so these are prior right shards that you use to, okay, prior right shards. I'm going to need you to squeal in excitement and make shocked Pikachu faces before I decide to buy this game. Yeah, I like this section too. This just kind of feels like Star Wars, right? Kind of walking around a bar. You got different folks hanging around. You got the music. This felt a little bit more classic Star Wars scene to me. I thought this is a cool little sequence just to give you that, again, that open world RPG Star Wars feel. I think whenever you're going to play a game like this, we've dropped a ton of frames over on Kick. Nobody ever seems to complain over there. I'm not sure what their problem is. You picked up a prior right shard. That's right. That's right. Need more YouTuber thumbnail faces? Yeah, here's the thing. I read through PC Gamer's thing. I watched VGC's video. I watched Game Informer's video. I read a couple of, tweets about it, summarizing everything. And I was like, man, this is all pretty exciting. But I think that's just one of the challenges with how much we've leaned towards doing, opinion pieces. I have a harder time being enthused about, hey guys, check out this gameplay. That's not really what I do now. I want to, do a monologue and, debate people and deliver the news. The gameplay is gameplay, right? We check it out. We Zapruder film it up, right? We pause, we go back, we look at stuff. But it's just not really what I've been doing for the past couple of months. You know what I'm saying? I used to get excited and be like, oh man, easy stream tomorrow. I'll just put on the gameplay and we'll just talk about it. But that just isn't, there are so many channels that already do that. They're like, here's the gameplay, bro. Sweet, see y'all later. Can't wait to play it, right? Or they'll throw that on the thumbnail, yo, everybody get hyped. I'm more conversational. I'm more monologue talk show driven now than I probably ever have been. So it's fun to chop up the details and speculate, but it's just an action adventure game at the end of the day, right? It's not a this isn't an MMO. There's not intricate systems. There's not ongoing content systems. They didn't do DLC in the last game, so I don't know if they've indicated they're going to be doing any DLC for this game either. Have to be able to do both. I don't agree. I think sometimes we'll probably kick coverage like this to an upload. Because I just think it's more comfortable for me to basically do the quick drive-by. You know what I mean? I was hoping that you could change a lightsaber color and you could have 2 different color lightsabers. Oh, one on each side? Yeah, I don't think they're going to let you do that. They show that right here. I think the color is is only like a universal thing. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully next Star Wars game, they'll make greater customization. Well, I mean, there's the open world Star Wars game that we know virtually nothing about, right? Think of it as fan service. I mean, I like watching gameplay. I like checking out new gameplay. I do, but I also like. Wait, see, was he changing just one side there? No, he's changing the whole thing. Yeah. So blade components materials. Yeah, he's changing the whole thing. Although right up here, I don't know. It says single up here in the corner. I don't know if you can do what you're saying. Have they confirmed that that you can't? Because it says. Hang on, let me back it up. Oh, maybe. Was he single before he came to the table? No, it doesn't show you. It doesn't show you. See what I'm saying? As soon as he comes in, it says single up in the corner. So I don't know if maybe you can come in here and change it off of single to dual or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you're like white in your left hand and like orange in your blue, orange in your right hand. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be indicating that up in the corner other than he's currently on single. I hope the open world Star Wars game delivers and the next PvP game as well, but Survivor will scratch many people's itch. I think this game is going to prompt a handful of things. Number one, I think Jedi Survivor is going to prompt people wanting to see Cal show up in the TV shows probably more than ever. Number two, I also think they're going to be requesting a third game. I think they've all but indicated they want to do a third game. They want to do a third one. I don't know how you wouldn't at this point, unless, of course, they kill Cal at the end, which would be kind of weird. It's kind of a weird way to end your trilogy, but that could certainly be the case. There was no confirmation? Okay. That's your stance in the top right corner. You can change your stance at meditations and workbenches. Wait, but is that on the screen when he's playing? Why would they put that on the screen when he's playing? I understand there's different stances, but the stances are down in the left-hand corner with the D-pad. Have I not noticed that? Did they literally put your stance in the upper right-hand corner as well while you're playing? Here we get another look at this beautiful mullet. Got Billy Ray Kestis here, ready to take on the galaxy. I hope they won't have a section where you lose your lightsaber and have to find a new crystal. I don't think they're going to do that again. That'd be kind of weird. What, like every single time you play this? You know what I'm saying? Every single time you play, you got to lose your lightsaber. Yeah, look, it's not up in the corner. Yeah, I understand that was referring to the stance, but it's not up in the corner. It was only there when he was at the bench, which again means maybe if you go to the bench and you have dual sabers equipped, maybe it will let you adjust the color for each blade. I agree. I think that would be pretty cool that, white in one hand, purple in another or something. That would be pretty dope. He straight up stabbed that guy. Joe Bob Jedi. Nah, Billy Ray Kestis, man. Cal Kestis' twin brother. Can't wait for this to be on Game Pass. Cool. These guys are new. These guys were not in the last game. You can always access two stances while you play. I know all this. I put all of this in the intro. You're not educating me on anything, homie. You're doing that. You're doing that thing that you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're talking about. This area right here where he's editing the lightsaber has nothing to do with what you're talking about. We were questioning on whether or not you could select a color for one of the lightsabers and then select a color for one of your others. So when you do dual. So I was speculating. Currently he comes to the bench with single stance. Can you come to the stance with dual, and then would that enable you to select a color one for each lightsaber. Like, homie, I'm not trying to be dismissive, but you're not giving me any new information, and you're not entering the landscape of the conversation. We were speculating on whether or not you could have two different colors. Like, I don't need the stances explained to me. Like, that was in the show open, exhaustively pulled from two different sources. Like, that's why I said in the show open, I think this game's going to be more like Sekiro and less like Tsushima. You're not going to be in the middle of a fight and be like, oh, this fight's definitely good for dual saber. Let me switch to dual saber. You can only switch to dual saber if you have dual saber equipped, which you equipped when you meditate. So I think it's going to be more like Sekiro. Like, let's say you have the difficulty turned all the way up. And let's say some boss just takes your dadgum head off, and you can tell, you're like, I'm going to need dual saber for this guy. You're going to have to go back and meditate and switch, which means you either die and meditate and switch, or you just suffer through the fight and barely make it, right? It's not going to be like Tsushima where you have every single stance available at all times. Because at the end of Tsushima, you literally fought a guy who switched between all the different stances. So you were having to switch as well. Like, he had a spear, then he had a shield, then he had the single sword. So, like, you're going to fight in this game, and you're not going to have that luxury, which is kind of interesting because in general, I think that they didn't want you to be able to, like, do that on the fly. There's a podcast list. I don't know how they treat them. That's the problem, Creature. I can't make a decision on that. Do you know what I'm saying? Until we have better information on how they're treating podcasts, I feel like podcasts are getting good placement right now. So I don't know why could we do both? I think the stance in the top corner is your primary stance, and that dictates what your customization options are. You can have two stances activated while playing. I know. I don't understand what you're doing. You feel like a bot. You're not having a conversation. You're just stating stuff about the game. I'm talking to a dadgum NPC. If you go back and look, when he applies the crystal, it detaches the saber into two parts before moving on, implying it could be applied individually at some point. Yeah, again, maybe. We just don't know because it doesn't show. Eugene says it would be odd to have access to all the stances. Well, at one level, yes, and at another level, no. And here's why I don't agree with you. Number one, almost all of the stances you can simply access by adjusting the lightsaber, which you already do in the first game. So if you play the first game, I think saying that's not in line with what you do in the first game. He literally takes a single saber, turns it into a dual blade, like Darth Maul, then he breaks it apart and has two. So 3 out of the 5 he can do seamlessly in the first game, making that opinion kind of null and void, right? Stances in Ghost of Tsushima were just stances. Stances in this game are tied to different weapon types. But again, no, you're not understanding. In the first game, you seamlessly go between 3 of the stances, and you don't have to go to a bench or a meditation spot. And they've added blaster and crossguard. So I understand the crossguard one needing to be different, right? Like, I understand that. It's different. Like, these little things shoot out the side, and, like, the blade looks... I think it's even longer, right? He has access to 3 of the stances on the fly in the first game. Seamlessly. You don't have to do anything. You just press a button, and he does. He switches from single to dual to 2, like, seamlessly in the first game. And what, a blaster? Okay, well, yeah, you grab the blaster at your side. I don't need to go to a bench to do that. So, I understood why PC Gamer was like, I don't understand. Why can we only have 2 stances at once? Now, they didn't even use the argument that I'm using. I'm arguing that in the first game, you 3 out of the 5 stances, you were constantly switching between, no problem. And a blaster... that I don't need to go to the bench for that. The only thing that makes sense to me is he does seem to adjust. He does something to the lightsaber for crossguard, like these 2 little vent crossguard things like spring out. But again, couldn't I just push a button on the lightsaber to trigger that? Just like kapling, and the little things come out the side and it gets longer. Like, it's the same lightsaber. It's the same base saber. I don't know. I don't think that argument's very strong in light of the first game. Now, if in the first game that was kind of the lore, right? Like, look, man, you're either running single and, the dual blade like Darth Maul has, or you run single and double, like you have one in each hand. But they didn't limit you in the first game in that way. So, to me, it's not a deal breaker, but it does push back a little bit on what they said. When they first announced the 5 stances, they said the 5 stances are going to be effective against different enemy types, but we're not going to tell you which ones. You kind of have to learn that on your own. Well, okay. So I get in a fight, unless we have a different saber at this point. No, it's the same saber on his belt. It's the same exact saber. I mean, maybe we build a different one, but when you go to the bench, you can literally see it's the same saber. He breaks it apart to have 2 lightsabers. He puts it together to have the dual blade, and he rips one of them off to have a single. It's the exact same saber. And as far as I can tell from the crossguard footage, it's the exact same one. He just pushes a button, and like the little crossguards, come out the side. So I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker. I don't think it's going to make me not enjoy the game, but I do think from a design perspective, it sort of seems to grate against the one thing that they talked about when they first announced the 5 stances. It was like, oh man, that's going to be awesome. I'm going to have to learn on the fly. And the thing is when they introduced it, they literally showed footage of Cal getting his butt kicked by this boss, and all of a sudden he goes kabling, and he pulls out his second lightsaber, and you're like, yo, that's hot. Well, you're not going to do that in this game. If you're in the middle of a fight and you realize, oh yeah, I want single and dual, I have to go back and meditate and switch. I'm going to give you my prediction on what ends up happening. This is what I think ends up happening. I think 80% of the player base is going to run what this guy's rocking right now, which is the single and the double. He's got 2 sabers, and then he's got single. If you look down there in the left-hand corner, I think that's going to be the most common build you find people using. Because how often are you running into a crowd that's so bad that you're like, oh my gosh, I need Darth Maul's lightsaber? I wouldn't say it's going to be that often. That's just a prediction. I don't think it's going to be that often. And how many fights are you going to say, oh, this is a crossguard fight? I bet you people pull out the crossguard for very specific fights, very specific instances. So that's one of the dilemmas with what they've done is, well, you're going to make some of the stances non-existent. Like, people just aren't going to use them. It's not worth the trouble of, oh, I got to go back and change now. Oh, I have single saber, and I've got twin blade saber. Oh man, this is a great spot for dual sabers. Hang on, I got to go back and switch, right? You think it's going to be single and blaster? I don't know about blaster. I need to see what he can do with the blaster up close, because that's another thing I'm curious about. How many ranged fights are we going to be in? When they were talking about it in one of the interviews, he said at its core, you're still primarily fighting things up close. He said you're not going to be shooting a bunch of things from super far away. There was an interview where the guy all but said that. They're like, yeah, you're not really going to be using the blaster for super far range fights. You're going to be primarily using it up close. So that could be true. Like, maybe interweaving the blaster into combat ends up being really hot and everybody loves it. You take out the crossguard when the crossguard tutorial is in play, and that's it. Yeah, that's my concern. Is there a place in the current footage where he goes from single to dual? When you say dual, you mean one in each hand? There's the old footage from way back where he does it. Or do you mean this? You mean twin blade? All right, CMO. And right here, he's using the wrong... Right there. Right here, he's using the wrong lightsaber. Right there, he converts to one. So, seamlessly, he goes from twin blade here to one, and the twin blade's a terrible choice here, because it was like a couple of, enemies. Keep up the work, bro. Thank you so much, Mo, for 19 months. Yeah. He switches right there. In the original footage that first came out, he's like fighting the mini-boss, and he goes from a single saber to a saber in each hand seamlessly. He just like pulls the other one off of his belt. There's 5 stances. You can have 2 equipped at any time. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're just kind of predicting how we feel like people are going to respond to that. Are they going to feel like that limitation is annoying and a nuisance? You know what I mean? You know, it's going to be a nuisance. Yeah, you're done here. I would think that many people that want higher level difficulty, I don't think they're going to be bothered by it. I think they're going to feel like this is a Dark Souls Sekiro trope. This is something that I'm used to. I went into an environment, I died. I'm going to adjust my loadout or my play or whatever. Also says they could use a different system. If you have like 10 points for stances, you could use all 5 with 2 levels of power per stance. No, I wouldn't like that. I don't think that doesn't sound like an action-adventure game. That sounds like a min-maxing RPG or something. That sounds out of place. The blaster stance, according to PlayStation Access, sounds more like a finishing move. It sounded like they mentioned he used the Force to do a sort of Deadshot thing, R2-D2 style. Oh, Red Red Redemption style. I want my combat choices to matter. Yeah, I think people that generally gravitate towards more challenging combat, that's what they're going to find appealing is, I learned my lesson, you know, time to go back to the bench and shake things up. You know what I'm saying? Guys watching on Kick, make sure you're hitting the follow button so you're following me over here. 37 people watching. If you want to become a member, become one, or you can gift one over there on Kick. We have a goal each day on each platform. You guys can have a little competition. YouTube, we've gotten one gifted member today, one new one. Some of y'all watch every single day of every single week of every single month, and if you enjoy the show that much, consider jumping in as a member. It's $5 a month. You're going to make room for the folks who can't afford a membership right now. We got a lot of generous people. Last month, Casual Grinder won the Eknor Award, and that is most gifteds in a month. And he has decided to gift that prize to somebody else in the spirit of being a gifter. I want to see how losing his saber plays out. The teaser trailer last year made it seem like Cal loses a fight and his blade. Oh, yeah, I hope they don't do that again. We did that in the last game. I don't want to lose my lightsaber every game. Like, every game doesn't need to take your loadout from you. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's necessary. Can't wait for the game. I feel like I like the first one a whole lot. Figured I would, being an EA game. I mean, I don't know if I've played many games by EA that would give me that level of confidence. I was more confident because of Respawn. As long as the game is not possible with one particular stance, then the stances are fine. He said in one of the interviews, the guy said you could play through the entire game with one stance if you want. Like, you don't have to switch to the other stances. You know, it's all a matter of what you want to do. I would imagine it's going to get a lot harder if you do that. I just don't think you will need anything for a certain NPC. It's not about need. Like, I was pretty careful in how I structured the prediction. If the people that play on the harder difficulties go into a fight, and that fight you're intended to use like a dual saber, like one saber in each hand, like that's the one to use for that fight, your likelihood of death's going to be increased significantly, right? And then what you would do is you would likely die and then go back to the thing. I never said anything about need. It's just the game's going to make it pretty obvious in certain fights that, yeah, you're gonna want to go back and switch your loadout, because this fight is definitely a cross guard, or this fight's definitely one for single blade or whatever. I'd like to see crystals enhance the different stances, making them more viable for harder fights. I don't think they're doing anything like that. I don't think they're doing anything where you're like enhancing anything. I think you've got your skill trees. And you can use those skill trees to give you different abilities for the different stances, but I don't think you're going to be able to like enhance a particular stance. I don't think that's a thing. Changing a stance just makes the game easier, so I will try it with one and see how it goes. Well, I think that's a weird way to frame it. I don't think that's true at all. That's false. Changing your stance is not making the game easier. Changing a stance is endemic to the game's design. There are enemies where changing your stance will help, right? Like, that's a weird perspective, to be fair. Like, nobody plays a game and says, oh, these enemies are weak to lightning. Well, I'm going to use fire the whole time because that's just going to make it easier. Well, no, that's not what that means. That's a weird way to interpret creating enemies that you're going to have a build that's better at blocking, parrying, and attacking a certain enemy, and then another lightsaber is going to be better at blocking, parrying, and attacking this enemy type over here. That's not making the game easier. That's just how the game is designed. It's not like you're putting in a cheat code. They're giving you different lightsabers because there are different lightsaber stances. You have one lightsaber. They're giving you different lightsaber stances because there's different enemy types. Like, because you're adapting, to what's happening in front of you on the fly. Played Bloodborne first playthrough without a gun. I don't have a merit badge for stuff that doesn't matter. That's not what we're talking about. I don't think when a game gives you a bunch of different skills and a bunch of different abilities that you're like, oh, but that's going to make the game easier. That would be like saying, I have a block and a light attack. Using parry and heavy attack will make the game easier, so I'm not going to use parry and heavy attack. They give you that to use in the right instances. Like, it's designed to be you adapting on the fly to the things that are going on. Like, that's playing through an entire game stubbornly only using one thing isn't making the game harder, right? And, oh, well, the people that are using their stances, they're making the game easier. No, you're using a hammer for every single job on the construction site because you think that's, like, I don't know, that's more honorable or harder or something. Like, pounding a screw into wood instead of using a screwdriver or a drill is not you doing something that's harder and me doing something that's easier. It's using the right tool for the right job. I think in games like this, that's generally how they approach it, is they're outfitting you with tools and abilities that are better at certain things, because part of you expressing your skill is seamlessly going between all those things, knowing when to block or parry, knowing when to do two sabers or one saber or cross guard, right? Like, that's actually a greater sense of skill expression. Like, ironically, it's more Neanderthalic, more like one, like, tunnel vision, single mind gameplay. That's more unidimensional. Like, I think it takes way more skill and way more adeptness and finesse to go through a game and to switch between all your different abilities and all your different powers. Guys, we're 1 hour into the stream. We only have one member on YouTube, none on Kick. If you guys want to get those goals today, we got to get going. Thank you for 200 likes on the video. Make sure you're smashing that like button. There's plenty of people here. We could easily have 300 likes on the video checking out the Jedi Survivor gameplay, and appreciate everybody being here today. Stubbornly using the same setup all game because you can't be bothered to change it up will make the game experience worse all around, and it's an ill-advised way to play. Yeah, I don't think that's like that's why I zeroed in on it. Like, as soon as he said it, it's like, oh, it'll make it easier. It's like, it won't make it easier. It's how the game is designed. Like, really odd. I'll never forgive Nintendo for SMB3. Giving Mario a tail and a frog suit made the game too easy, and forcing me to use them, unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, this guy's doing, no power-up Mario runs. You know what I'm saying? I don't use mushrooms in Mario. It just makes the game easier. Discrimination against my Neanderthal ancestors will not go unanswered. Someone clearly hasn't played Pokemon. Types weak to other types. Yeah. Listen. I am not telling you how to play. I'm not telling you how to play. If that's how you want to play, if you literally want to play a game that has 1,000 weapons in it and you want to use a stick the whole time, that's totally fine. That's your choice. But you can't look at the guy that's using all the different weapons, powers, and abilities at his disposal and say, oh, yeah, just making the game easier. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. Yo, smokes a lot. There we go. Let's get some members rolling here. Taking us to 6 members on the day for YouTube. What you got, Kick? He gifts 5 members. Thank you so much. Smoke a lot goes to Vedger, Von Raz, the Cisco, Zephyroth, and Phil. Thank you so much for doing that. Nothing like a little friendly rivalry between Kick and YouTube. And every 25, I gift 5. Don't forget, this game has various difficulty levels, so while on normal or easy, only using a single stance may be viable. I doubt that's the case for the hardest 2 difficulties. Yeah, that's why in my show open, I kind of tried to focus on that, Eugene. I was like, I think the people that play this game at the harder difficulties are not going to be bothered by only 2 stances at once, because they're sort of accustomed to going into a game and saying, if I die, I'm going to analyze my build, my strategy, and my approach. That boss would be perfect for Crossguard. He's slow, and he walloped me, okay? My super speedy build wasn't working all that great. So you die, you meditate, you switch to Crossguard, and you go back in. Like, people that are accustomed to playing really hard games are likely to embrace that a bit more. Ironically, I think the people that play the game more casually, I think they're going to be the ones that are more likely to be bothered by, oh, I can only have 2 stances at once, because they're just going to be thinking about, oh, this would be fun to be able to get out my Darth Maul. This would be fun to get out my Crossguard. I wish I could get my blaster right now. You know what I mean? Actually, I think Creature might be right now that I think about it. I think the more casual player base will likely flock to single saber with the blaster. Unless single saber with the blaster is almost like a single saber the whole time, like you don't have to use the blaster, I could see that being everybody's primary one. Because if you get the strength of the single saber and have the option to use the blaster, but you just don't sometimes, you know what I mean? Is using a summons making a Souls game easier? Well, I would say that anytime you use an ability like that in a game, whether there are magic builds in Elden Ring, right? You could go on a spectrum of power measurement in Elden Ring, and you could go all the way to the most extreme would be the level 1 no-hit runs that guys do, right? They never level their character up. They never use any new gear, right? They don't do any of that. That's like all the way on the power spectrum in Elden Ring, all the way down on the left-hand side. And then you could go all the way to the right-hand side of the power spectrum in Elden Ring, where it's a bonkers magic build with summoning. Because you have so much power at your disposal compared to the guy running around in a diaper with a pot on his head who is a level 1. So within that perspective, you could invoke the word easier. You could say, well, yes, this makes the game easier because I'm drawing on more power in the game. But that doesn't mean that if you do that, you're like in a game like as you did it in this game, which I don't think what you're referencing is analogous to this game. I think you're making a false equivalency. There's an enormous difference between the developers of Jedi Survivor saying, we're going to give you 5 stances, there's all sorts of different enemy types throughout the game, and the different stances are powerful and more effective against different enemy types. And adapting on the fly gives you the ability to kind of learn when and when not to do that. It's more analogous to, in Elden Ring, you have the guard counter. Well, guard counter is really, really good against some enemies, and it's really, really bad against others. Because if you try to guard counter an enemy in Elden Ring that's not really designed around that rhythm, you're going to get your dadgum head taken off. And knowing when to use guard counter and when not to use guard counter is part of a skill expression within Elden Ring. I loved guard counter. I used it with square off, and my favorite thing to do was to break their posture and stagger them, right? SFC is Sergeant First Class Smoke a Lot. Well, Sergeant First Class Smoke a Lot, I appreciate the gifted members, man. Thank you so much. Somebody want to tag team with this man and help us get our member goal. You guys can gift some members right now, one at a time, if you please. Or you can just become a member all on your own. Yo, good morning, Abe. Blows my mind that people can pull that off. Elden Ring was the hardest game I ever played, and it took me months. I have a video coming today. It's an upload about how I believe AI will change gaming, and I touch on what I believe AI will bring to game difficulty, because there are people that can always do that, right? They play Elden Ring, they play, Sekiro, and they never get touched. There's people that just get to that threshold of being able to read all of the enemy telegraphs just perfectly, like they just play so much that you're also forgetting, too, that the people that do that, have played the game a number of hours that are anomalous and not normal. Like they're an expert. That's their hobby. That's their world. That's their fly fishing. It's what they do. But you don't have force abilities in Elden Ring, though. Well, you can't create an equal equivalency between this game and Elden Ring, because number one, this is an action-adventure RPG, so your build options and your loadout options are significantly limited, right? You have 5 stances, but it's the same lightsaber. You can't have like a different lightsaber, right? Yo, it's Bluey gifting. Let me pause this. It's Bluey's gifted 5 members over here on Kick. He's trying to tie it up. YouTube, look out! Here comes Kick. Here comes Kick. They're trying to catch you guys. Let's keep this going. Let's keep the gameplay going. Thank you, Bluey. It went to Nick Shot, Brian Gaming, Redeem Gaming Night, Sojnaga, and Boring Coma. Let's go, Bluey says. I think deep combat options favor games with big difficulty options. There are entire aspects of God of War 2018's combat that I didn't use, but that you'd almost certainly need in Give Me God of War. Right. Which is exactly what I was kind of getting at and what Eugene was getting at. If you turn this game all the way up to its 2 top difficulties, more than likely, you're going to really feel like you need to grab those different abilities, right? You're going to need to grab those different abilities. You're not going to want to feel like, different stances. You're not going to feel like that. You're like, oh my gosh, I need these other stances. Eugene says, that's why I tend to play games on the harder or the hardest difficulties. It's the only way to force me to use the entire sandbox. Right, it keeps you on your toes. It funnels you into a lane, right? It's like, okay, I don't need this, but my gosh, is it going to make the fight better, right? I'm trying to avoid using the word easier because I don't want this guy to be like, see, you just admitted that it makes it easier. Yes, at a technical level, when you use a screwdriver or a drill to put a screw into a piece of wood, it is technically easier, but it's also how it's designed. So you can't conflate easy or easy mode or making the game easier. You can't conflate that with doing something as it's designed. You can drive down the road and leave your stick shift Honda Civic in second gear. Well, it's harder to get to work. Your RPMs are in the 4 and 6. You're barely moving, right? But that's not how the car is designed. You're designed to go from second to third to fourth to fifth gear as you increase speed. I'll bang my head until the door falls over or it proves to be impossible. Here's the thing, Frostbite. I like that people play games like that, so I don't want anybody to think I'm telling you how to play. I would never do that, right? Wait, you don't hammer a screw in? That explains a lot. Listen, I would never tell you how to play. If that's how you want to play a game, if you're like, listen, what I want to do is I want to beat my head against this wall for the next 20 hours. And you're going to suddenly feel like you've accomplished something great. That's amazing for you. I just got news for you. Most folks don't care about that. It's cool that you care about that. We were trying to teach my daughter about this last night, about being like, hey, that's cool for you, even if you're not interested in it. Her friend expressed to her, she said, oh, I'm going to get these really awesome stickers in the mail. And my daughter went, so? And she didn't realize how rude she was being. She's 9. She lacks self-awareness. She doesn't care about that thing or that movie. She's like, what? Because we asked her about it. She's like, what? I think that movie's not that funny. It's like, okay, but you can express excitement for your friend even if you're not interested. So I would absolutely never, you couldn't pay me money to play a game that way. I would never, ever play a game the way that you're describing. I would never do a no-hit level 1 run. I would never do that. Okay? I would never do that. So, yeah, that's why when you said what you said, I was like, now, wait a minute. It's not making the game easier. That's how the game is designed, right? Like, you're jumping to in my mind, I feel like you're just jumping to a different paradigm. So, you know you're the minority. Right. And that's totally fine. I think it's cool that gamers develop their own little idiosyncrasies and their own little ways of playing and their own ways of doing things. I've seen videos recently of guys playing like weird claw versions on controller, and I'm like, I literally feel like I'm watching a space alien interact with a controller. I'm like, what in the frick are you doing? Like, why are you doing that, right? But at the same time, I think it's cool that there's just such a wide breadth of diversity within how people interact with games, in gaming media. You're late, bruh. My man. Giving me grief for going late this morning. Would never, nor could ever. Yeah, it's not that I would never, it's that I couldn't do it. I don't think I could. We yucking other people's yums? No. Lono thought he went hardcore with the no summons run. I didn't feel like I was going hardcore. I just thought the no summons run would be fun because I wanted to see how different the boss fights felt when I was no longer able to kind of lean on summons. Because there were boss fights that went completely differently when I didn't have summons. Like the flow of the fight was different. The amount of aggro that you draw is different. It felt like a very, very different video game. And obviously until I got to the Fire Giant, I was, for the most part, enjoying it very much. Yo, good morning, Melrose Mike. I would never do a no-hit run. My timing's not perfect. I've done a no-death run. Took me 7 days of trying. Kept falling off a ledge. The ledge in Anor Londo. Yeah, I think that would be the hardest part for me is in a game like Dark Souls or Demon Souls or something, dying to the environment instead of the fights. Like, you practice and finesse and you get good at every single fight and you know what you're doing. And then you take a bad step and then that's it. You know what I mean? I think that would be really, really tough. Some of the boss fights were designed for summons, though. So if you don't use them, they're broken. Well, and that's the thing. You're kind of voluntarily playing it as it's not designed, which, again, is totally fine. But that's why I just kind of bucked up against the idea of, like, oh, it's making it easier. And it's like, I don't think I agree with that. I don't agree with that framing. You know what I mean? Chapter 8 says, I hope in the end game you use all 5, but you don't get the best skills in any one. Or 2, get the best skills in 1 or 2, but those aren't optimal for any boss. Difficult in different ways. I got news for you. I probably won't spend any time or money on the dual blade because I always felt like it depends on how often you feel you need it in this. But out of the gate, I'm looking at it and saying, I don't need that. I don't want to do dual blade. The Darth Maul one, right? I don't want to do that. I don't like the way that it feels. I don't ever feel like, at least in the first game, I never felt like there were enough instances of, like, oh, I absolutely need this. There's so many enemies. You know what I mean? Is this gameplay from the new game? I don't remember this. Yes, this is all from the brand new game. So right here, they're showing how you can now edit BD1. So this is brand new Jedi Survivor gameplay. So just yesterday, we got some Star Wars Jedi Survivor hands-on gameplay previews from Game Informer and VGC and some other outlets, and they're showing here even customization options are significantly deeper. One of the things I really like about this is I think this is one of the base outfits that you start with, and I don't think this is the Han Solo one. It kind of looks like the other. There is a Han Solo one that you can get, and you can change the colors here, so I'm really excited like what the red one looks like. But I love the idea of giving you a lot more customization options, not just in your outfit, but also with your hairstyles, which they'll show in just a second. If you guys are enjoying the show on YouTube, give me a like, minimize the chat. If you're watching on mobile, give that thumbs up a press. Let's get to 300 likes. That helps out the video. And we've dropped so many frames on Kick. I'm sorry if that's been disruptive over here. I don't know what's causing that. Playing a YouTube video shouldn't cause that. I have more than enough internet speed. I would assume it's on their end. Because I've streamed on my Spectrum internet before on YouTube, and I've never dropped 6,000 frames after streaming for like an hour and 18 minutes. So I'm not sure what's going on over there. Their ingest servers might just be having some problems. Yeah, no more poncho. Yeah, and more customizations. Oh, I said parka in my opening monologue. I said parka. It's a poncho. It does kind of look like a parka, though. Right? Doesn't it? A parka? Well, no, it's not. A parka's a coat. Yeah, I used the wrong word. I don't know why I was thinking parka. I definitely said parka in my opening monologue instead of poncho. Yeah, I'm streaming on Kick as well. Right now, we have a friendly rivalry of members. So currently, we've had 6 gifted members on YouTube and 5 on Kick. If you guys want to contribute to that, you can. I got a good chuckle when you said parka. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking. I was like, oh yeah, it's a parka. Nope, it's a poncho. Use the wrong word. Classic me. That's a definite me. I was seeing if there was going to be any more trickle out of gameplay today. A lot of people were putting out their footage last night. Yeah, the gamer has Star Wars Jedi Survivor's customization is creeping me out. They're showing all the various ways you can customize. And it creeps me out a little bit, partially because it takes a fairly ingrained and youthful character from the first game and gives us the freedom to shape him into something entirely different. Throw a beard and a few extra freckles and longer hair on Cal, and he ages a solid 10 years or so, which feels like a bizarre leap even for the sequel to take. Well, I mean, he's 5 years older. A lot happens to a man in 5 years. I mean, I'm sorry whoever wrote that hasn't gone through puberty, but, you know, a lot changes in 5 years, man. Did you ever come back from summer break and all of a sudden Dave was like a foot taller and he had a deep voice and a beard? And you're like, what in the frick happened to you? What'd you eat over the summer? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Star Wars Jedi game director reveals that lightsaber rights had to be fought for. Lucasfilm now trusts Respawn to the extent that the new game advances the story of the overall franchise. Really? Speaking to Deserto, Asmussen provided more context on their relationship to Lucasfilm. Like a plucky Padawan, Respawn had something to prove in the beginning, and Stig Asmussen, who once worked on the God of War series for Santa Monica Studio, was leading a growing team. The core team had to persuade and convince Lucasfilm of their vision for the game, and even the rights to use of lightsabers having been fought over. But the Padawan proved its worth. Quote, I don't look at Lucasfilm as them, he told Deserto. We're working on this together. We've been doing it for 6 or 7 years now. It's been a long time. We're not just partners. We're part of the same team as far as I'm concerned. It's interesting that they had to fight for the right to party. No, they had to fight for the right to use lightsabers. Do you know what I'm saying? That's kind of crazy. Like, how are you gonna do a game like this without lightsabers? Our dad has a parka. He does not have a poncho. That's right. That's right. His big old coat is a parka. But my poncho. What if I like the poncho? What's good, fat lump? We got some folks in chat that typically have badges, guys. Let's get some gifteds going on YouTube and take care of those folks. Get them back in. Piggy Master is in chat. That's a long-standing viewer. Same with Fat Lump. Let's get these guys back in the fold. Give some members or become a member right now. Same over here on Kick. 38 folks watching. Make sure if you're watching on Kick, you press that follow button so you don't miss my streams. Wired Rope says it's minor glitches for me, but hard to tell. Okay. Okay. Something about the way he runs feels weird. Anyone else get that vibe? Like that he's running bow-legged. He does run, I think, and here's something that I think always happens. I think this always happens in action-adventure games. I think making the character run is difficult. Right? Some games, the character like leans all the way forward and they're running like an anime character. And then in other games, they look like they're jogging like in a stiff way, like they got to stick up their rear. And then other times, they look awkward. I remember running in the Batman games. I always felt like Batman ran and it was kind of funky. I feel like it's just third person. I don't know. I don't have enough time for the games I want to play, Sean. Stop it. Yeah. Sean Murray, letting everybody know No Man's Sky's got stuff coming. Animations still seem kind of jank for sure. Do you have an example of where you saw some janky animations? We could go watch it, Wabi Sabi. In this footage here, make sure and point it out to me, and I'll go back and look, because I haven't seen anything. He gets eaten here. Poor Cal. And poor BD. BD doesn't even... BD is ride or die. Look at this homie. Look at this homie, dude. Look at him. BD is right there. This man is ride or die. This droid's like, listen, bro, if you get eaten, I'm going with you. BD1 could totally jump off at that point and be like, peace out, Cal. It's nice knowing you. I'm going to look for a new master. And BD1, he's with you till the end. Going to get crunched up by a Rancor. Rockstar Games does it well in the running department. Kratos has a solid run. Yeah, but see, the beauty of Kratos is so big that, like, he runs like a linebacker, so you don't have to worry. Yeah, he does look kind of bow-legged right there. He kind of runs like a cowboy. He's ready to get on a horse at all times. He's always ready to hop on a horse. Ugh. That was a brutal death scene. Yeah, for a Star Wars game. Jin runs fine. I think Aloy does too. You got a point. Kratos and Joel and Ellie, though. I was worried because of the market recently that nothing would pan out, but he got moved to a different base. Oh, you guys are talking about something else. I got that in the first game too. He does run weird, especially when he's turning. Yeah, and he kind of goes from like a light jog to a sprint like really, really fast. He does. I think it's fine. Listen, some people run like that. Maybe that's just the way he stands, you know? Maybe he just really, really... Maybe he rode a motorcycle for like a really, really long time. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what he was doing in his former life. He was on a motorcycle. He was in a motorcycle gang. We heard on average how long the game might be. I don't know. Jedi Survivor. I don't think game length has been discussed. Let me do a quick search. How long is Jedi Survivor? We don't know how long the game will be at this stage, but Fallen Order took around 17 hours to complete the main story and 22 with side quests. So it sounds like Fallen Order was in that 15 to 20 hour window, depending on how much you did. That's pretty good for a single player game. And so I would imagine they've talked about this game being significantly bigger than the last one. More places to go, more places to explore, more abilities to get. Yeah, I don't think this is a I don't think this is going to be shorter. And I already kind of spoke to this. Going forward with games like this, I don't think we'll be playing it to completion, but I will be sure to show you guys gameplay day one. So if you're interested in the settings, the optimization, if you're interested in kind of how the game starts, you won't have to worry about major story spoilers, right? We'll play the first, hour or two on the day it comes out. Games like this are awesome to kind of showcase day one, but if it's longer than like 15 to 20 hours, that just doesn't really flow with what we do here, because that would require me to do, let's just say it's a 15 to 20 hour game, and and as a streamer it would trend more towards the 20 hour road. That's a lot. That's like 20 streams at 2 hours each time. That's like an entire month of me playing in the afternoon, and I just don't think we would want to do that. That's a big investment. So we just like to let people know in advance that you don't have to worry, like when a game comes out like this. Like when God of War came out, we were focusing pretty heavily on gameplay to the point that like talk shows kind of took a back seat. I don't think we'll be doing that again. We really have been enjoying the talk shows with you guys, and we don't want to like take away from that. So that is something that we're considering when games like this come out. Like Diablo will be in a bit of a different category because Diablo is an ongoing game. That's a game we can kind of dip into multiple times a week or once a week. But games like this are just they're such time sinks. that they don't really fit with the flow. So but my main goal anytime a game like this comes out is to give you the fastest look at the game as possible. So that way, day one, you can see, are there any problems? Are there any glitches? Are there any bugs? With the recent Last of Us port, obviously, we want people to be able to look at a game as quickly as possible, you know? Yo, Dan coming in with 20 months. Hate to be that guy, but will this be available on EA Play? I believe all EA games are available on EA Play. Fat Lump jumping back in as a member. Thank you so much, Fat Lump and Dan, for jumping back in as members. We have 6 members on the daily member goal, guys. We've not missed that goal since like November of last year, so feel free to help us hit that goal. Every 25, I gift 5, and you can do one at a time. You don't got to be like these big dogs like Casual Grinder and others who drop so many gifteds. He did win the Eknor Award last month. Most gifteds. So thank you for that. 10-hour trial. Well, 10-hour trial. So wait, I don't understand. I've not done EA Play in an age. How does that work? I thought you got the full game. Do you not get the full game? I thought you got the 10-hour trial like early. 10-hour trial would be nice, but I doubt they had nothing for Dead Space. Wait, they didn't do anything on EA Play for Dead Space? Is that true? Usually with all their titles, they let you play for 10 hours. But can't you... I'm confused. I thought with EA Play, like the day the game came out, you'd be jumping in and playing. I've not used EA Play in such a long time. I don't remember exactly how it works. That was almost like a lifetime ago, the last time I used EA Play. I probably should go cancel it. I don't know if I even have it anymore. I find most games come to EA, they take about 6 months to hit after they come out. EA Play Pro, you get the whole game, but it's only on PC. Okay, that's what I'm remembering, because I used that and I played through Origin, I think on my PC. I played Anthem or something. I think that's what I think that's the last time I used EA Play. 10 hours will be like half the story. Is that Chocobo? It looks like one. If you're on EA Play, you mostly get limited trials and discounts. Got it. Okay. Oh. I got a big back pop there. That one felt good. Usually they only put games on there like 6 months after it comes out. Okay. Well, so it sounds like EA Play follows the same. If you have Game Pass, you have EA Play. I thought EA Play came with Game Pass Ultimate. Yeah, I need to go check all my logins and see if I still have subscriptions to all those different things. I've not checked in a lifetime. I'm super close to canceling all the subscriptions and just going back to buying games. It's just like I feel like they've, especially Game Pass, like you've gotten me for how long, and I almost never use it. I think I used it for Hi-Fi Rush for my daughter. Why is the movement so rigid? I don't see rigid movement. I'm not sure what people are talking about. Somebody said it earlier, and I asked for an example. I don't know if he gave me one. Let me see if he did. Who was the one that said... It was Wabi Sabi said it. Wabi Sabi, did you give me any specific points to look for? Animation seemed jank. And then just walk like a Jedi. Yeah. Ashen Hollow with 19 months says, stay a while and listen. Have you heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? It's not a story the Templars would tell you. Thank you so much, Ashen, for jumping back in. Game Pass does not come with EA Play Pro. Yeah, it's just regular EA Play. Yeah. Game Pass Ultimate comes with the $5 off a month of EA Play, which is minimal. Okay. Seems like sometimes when he lands from jumping, he almost slightly slides. I did that, says Hilly. Canceled Game Pass EA. Anything game-related subscription is gone. Lono's anti-subscription gaming, right? I'm not anti-subscription gaming. I'm anti-subscription gaming cannibalizing buy-to-play sales of new releases. Like, that's... I think subscription gaming has a place, just like all monetization practices have a place as long as they're ethical and they're not, scummy. But my main issue with subscription gaming is when you start taking brand new titles and you cannibalize those first couple of weeks of sales. I think that's counterproductive. I think they showed us that you could do remakes with Dead Space. Really hope KOTOR remake is really good. Every time someone says Game Pass, you got to pay me $1. Yeah. EA Play Pro is $14.99 a month or $100 a year. Regular EA Play is $5 a month or $30 for the year. Now, I need to go make sure I'm not paying for any of that crap. I don't pay any attention to that stuff. That's how they get you. You sign up for it, and then you forget about it. I've yet to see a game to sell me on Game Pass that I would rather just buy. Animations aren't jank. They're adaptive to the environment. His legs actually interact with the ground, unlike games that use pre-baked animations. Why isn't RE4 on Game Pass? I don't know. Buy it if you want to play it. That's why, you know? Buy it if you want to play it. Hello, no. Hoke said something about Sony opening thumbs up for an investigation, starting to think this guy is bot. Will you do a response video? I like your rational, fair views. I have not seen what that's based on. Everybody ran to my comments and started quoting that, and I was like, I literally did a Google search and could find nothing. And I was like, yep, a YouTuber or a blogger said this. So I'm not going to respond unless I see anything official. I'm not doing that. The kind of what Microsoft's planning to do where you draw a line between subscription gaming and cannibalizing sales. I'm not sure what you mean. How is Endless Dungeon? I've never played Endless Dungeon. I couldn't tell you. You see how it just warped him to that pipe? All right, hang on. You're saying it warped him to a pipe. All right, let me back up. Okay. Well, homie, I mean, what do you mean? That, of course they have to do that within reason. He jumps, and what's he supposed to do? Fall? Like, it's not meant to be like a hyper challenging, super precise platformer. That's a weird quibble. Come on, that's pretty normal in games like this. You jump toward a pipe, you don't perfectly land on it, and then they just kind of put you on the pipe. I don't think that's a big deal. I don't really think that's a huge deal. Hilly says, I worked out what I would spend on Game Pass waiting for Starfield and then buying it off of the Game Pass. I have a disgusting amount of unplayed games on my Steam library. I might subscribe to my own Steam account for free. It has a 10-year backlog. Oof. I don't know why, but I could see those timed races with the Force being a bit annoying. Oh, yeah, for sure, because he keeps having to go back to the beginning. Yeah. Yo, it's good, Casual Grinder. I've seen more than that. I just have high hopes they will fix it and make it smoother. Here's something that I think happens, though, Awakened Void. I think when you're not playing... Excuse me. I think when you're not playing, you see things that you are not going to see when you play. Does that make sense? I think when you're not playing, you see stuff. I remember I was playing Horizon Forbidden West, and people were like, bro, her hair's driving me crazy. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I'm not looking at my character. I'm looking at the game. I'm not looking at Aloy's hair. You might look at her hair, like, for a moment because you're getting ready to take a picture, like, you've been in the game for 5 minutes and you're just taking in all the graphics. But as I'm running around, walking around, navigating the world, going into the different towns, like, I'm not looking at my character. So I think sometimes we overanalyze gameplay footage like this and we see a bunch of stuff. And when you play the game on launch, you're not going to notice any of that stuff because you're going to be focused on, landing the jump. You're going to be focused on the enemies and the blaster shots coming at you and the big swings from the Rancor. You're not going to be like, oh man, did you see that? Did you see that little animation there? That was kind of janky. Now, I remember people were giving me grief about picking apart the Dead Space remake trailer, and I was like, this just doesn't look very, next gen. It's a $70 next gen only remake, and the hair was fluid AF. Yeah, and I remember people being like, you're not going to notice that when you're playing, and I'm like, but I am going to notice that when I'm playing because I paid for a $70 remake. I didn't pay for, a game I didn't pay for this game because I'm a huge fan. I paid for the game because I was hoping to get A $70 remake. Yeah, beards are in the game. Yeah. You can really change what your character looks like in this. So, if you guys are just tuning in and you're enjoying the coverage, we're checking out Jedi Survivor gameplay. We got brand new gameplay. Thank you for 300 likes. We have received 6 gifted members here on YouTube and 5 over there on Kick. Little friendly competition on the race to 25 members. YouTube or Kick, who's going to hit it first today? This is one of the few times Kick might have been able to steal the victory and say they were the first at 25. YouTube's been a little relaxed today. It's been a little bit more chill than we've been having. Kick could still take the lead if they want it. Yeah, beards and mullets. Yeah, he goes for a Billy Ray Kestis look. He's no longer Cal Kestis. He's Billy Ray Kestis. Resident Evil 4 shows how short Dead Space fell of expectations. Yeah, that would be a good video, Eugene. Resident Evil 4 remake versus the Dead Space remake. Yeah, one is an actual next gen remake. I don't think the other is. I just don't. You'll never convince me. I have nothing against Dead Space. I had no dog in that fight. I played it. I played it. You look at the graphics. Come on. Anyone else getting noticeable texture flickering in Resident Evil 4? I didn't play it long enough to notice that. I will sit here and praise Resident Evil 4. I will. I'll tell people it's an amazing remake, but it's just not for me. I keep describing it as a beautifully written love letter, but it's just not addressed to me. It's written to Resident Evil fans, you know? It's written to Resident Evil fans. It's one of those times where I can sort of divorce my own subjective, opinion and experience and still acknowledge the quality and the value that's there and not feel like, I don't need to be harsh. I'm like, it sucks. It just is not at all something that I just didn't enjoy my time in it at all. Resident Evil 4 remake over Dead Space remake for sure. I'll pick up Dead Space at $30 or $40. Same with Callisto. Yeah, I don't know how much work they've done on Callisto, but yeah. I don't know how much work they've done on Callisto. Yeah. I know that they fixed a lot of the problems, but I have no idea where it landed at the end of all things, Don't worry, Dead Space Remake will be on EA Play soon. I mean, I paid for it. I think I did. Yeah, I paid for that and played it. I wanted people to see it. I didn't think it was very good at all. Members. Resident Evil 4 isn't for everyone, but they did a good job in terms of actually remaking the game. Yeah. Everything they did in the Resident Evil 4 remake, I could applaud and say, "Hey man, y'all crushed this. Y'all did a really, really good job with this." It just wasn't for me. I was just almost immediately like, I just could immediately tell. I was like, yeah, I don't, this just isn't for me. I love the Resident Evil 2 remake and the Resident Evil 4 remake. It was, I just thought we were doing, hang on. Oh, it's just... Oh. Okay. You guys that are members, this is a good day to become a member. You guys that are members are going to want to keep an eye on the Discord. We're going to have a We're going to have a really, really good deal for you guys today. Yo, what's good, Sven, over here on Kick? You guys that are watching on Kick, you guys that are watching on YouTube, good day to become a YouTube member. We're going to be putting a deal for you guys in the Discords. Great reason. We Yeah, I want the deal to be super easy to use, Creature. That's all. I don't want it to have to be a specific thing that they have to do. I just want it to be a super easy deal. Just in process. Okay, cool. Yeah. I just want to get it out of here. Like, that's all that matters. Like, we're trying to have a fast move, not a I just don't want anybody to get confused. You know how it is, right? You try and do something fun and special, and everybody will get confused. Yeah. Just make it super easy. Use this code, and this is what you get. What's the date on this one? Oh, shoot. It's end of this month, isn't it? Jedi Survivor is like the 28th, isn't it? Lono doesn't wear nostalgia glasses? That's right. Jedi Survivor release. Yeah, April 28th. Yeah, end of this month. So you got Burning Shores on the 21st, a week before, and then you got this the week after. Oh, there's Mandalorian in this game. That'd be kind of weird to suddenly have Mando in the game. You gave the RE4 remake a second shot. You would love it. It just gets better as the game progresses. I'm not going to enjoy a game that when the combat turns me off in the first 2 hours. I'm not going to. There's no way. There's no way. I just did not enjoy the combat. I kept making mistakes. I felt like I was wrestling with the game more than the enemies. You know what I mean? Timeline's wrong for Mando to appear in this. I think he just said a Mando. I think he said, I hope there are Mandalorian in the game, like any Mandalorians at all. I don't think he means like literally Din Djarin. I think he's just saying any in general. Yeah, if you guys want to get a YouTube membership, I would snag it now. I would gift some now. You're gonna be running. We're gonna be going to an AI video shortly. A video on how I think AI is going to literally change the. I think it's going to change the gaming industry for forever, and we're going to be doing a whole series on it, and today's the kickoff of the series as an upload, and then we'll hang out with members. Members, I'll let you know how to cash in on the deal. We're going to be doing a deal on the coffee, and you guys can take advantage of it. We're going to be doing a sale as well that anybody can take advantage of, but there's going to be a code specifically for members in the Discord to make the deal even better. And so now's a great time to become a member. We are still 19 away from the YouTube goal. We have not missed this members goal since November of last year. And the light's getting dim today. We're running out of time. Zelda's May 12th. That's right. Yeah, Zelda's in May as well. Yeah, right after this game lands. We just have a barrage of games on the horizon. Last night I heard Next Gen 720. They were talking about how they heard Perfect Dark is going to be a remake. There's been a handful of rumors swirling about the Perfect Dark remake. Are you real? You could be AI right now? I mean, in a couple of years, that's not entirely out of the question that you could literally watch a YouTube channel that is not me. It would be an AI version of me that's been programmed to have, millions of permutations of responses to what people in chat say. Yeah, Redfall's coming as well. I have Resident Evil 4 S Plus on Professional, then Burning Shores, then Jedi, plus maintaining some other stuff. My sleep is effed. Yeah, that's a lot of video games. Lot of video games. On 16 seconds on this part, the guy has no head. I didn't see that. There we go. Come on now. Let's not lose our streak. Taking us to 11 members on the day. We need some more people to step up to the plate. Some of these guys were so generous last month. Thank you, Dan, for jumping in the mix. Dan gifting 5 members. It goes to Hollow, Jason, Ed Boy, John, and Trash Boat. You guys want to make sure you get in the Discord. You'll be able to take advantage of a deal, a special deal, a code just for you that we're doing on the coffee, putting us about halfway to the daily YouTube membership goal. Didn't have a problem with RE2. I didn't do the RE3 remake. I liked the RE2 remake. I think the gameplay is similar. No, it's not at all. Resident Evil 4 was so much action. Resident Evil 2 was way more horror. I felt like Resident Evil 2 was 80% horror, 20% action. I felt like Resident Evil 4 flipped that around, and it was 80% action, 20% horror. And I just didn't vibe with it. Is it worth getting Breath of the Wild now, or just wait till the new one comes out? I mean, I think Breath of the Wild's one of the best open world games ever created, so it's probably always worth buying and playing. Get familiar with the systems, get familiar with how it works. What kind of boat? Yo, what's good? Transmissions from the space boat. I think AI will cause a crap ton of legislation brought against, especially if they keep trying to bypass copyright. Oh, yeah. Yep. I talk about that in my video today. I really do. I hope you guys support this AI series that we're doing. Yo, Brandon Donovan says, dude, this goal's no problem, bro. We've got you. What a monster. Brandon Donovan putting his hat in the ring for the Eknor Award this month, dropping a 20 gifted member bomb on chat. That's a lot of people. Royal Dank, Crave It, Ultimate Mativer, Makel, Frames, Server Error, Brian King, Retro, Sammy Elway, Night Men, Mark Bent, Amit, Nick Schrader, Antidepressiva, Billiam, Bubba, Corey, Free J Free, Matthew Murphy, and Sauron Grant. Listen, you guys all just got memberships. You're really going to want to use the Discord. It's linked below in the description. Look at this spot right here. That looks like the guy from The Walking Dead that gets Negan'd. I forget his name. Make sure you get into the Discord, guys. Make sure you get into the Discord. That is an excellent opportunity. We're doing a coffee deal. We're doing a code just for you. We're doing a rolling goal on this, by the way. I owe you 5 members. I will give them to you in the premiere. I'm going to send you guys to a premiere in a little bit, probably in about 20 minutes. It's about how AI will change gaming for forever, I think. AI is my best shot at a girlfriend. Probably true. No, not Glenn. Abraham? Yeah, that looks like Abraham. Was his name Abraham? He looks like the guy who gets Negan'd right up. First one gets Negan. I like coffee. Listen, if you like coffee, get in the Discord. We're going to be doing a great deal. Bluey says, come on, Kick. Let's beat YouTube. Listen, let me pause it. All right, Kick. We got 31 on YouTube. We got 5 on Kick. You guys are going to have to go big, Kick. You're running out of time. We're running out of time. We're getting ready to switch in about 20 minutes. How long will Disney keep going milking Star Wars? I don't know. Until it doesn't make them money anymore. You know what I mean? That'd be my thought. Saw a story the other day about a dude with an AI girlfriend who was devastated because the creator shut down the server. Oof. Guys, if you have Reforge Roast muted in the Discord, you're going to miss it. Reforge Roast right now has a buy 2 get 1 free. There's a code for you to use. It's a buy 2 get 1 free. All right. As far as I know, let me double check before I send you guys there. The Frickmas has officially been discounted. The Frickmas has officially been discounted down to $12.95. It's the cheapest we've ever sold our coffee for. We are attempting to move through the final inventory, so help us do that. So even if you're not a member, you can buy some Frickmas at a really nice discount. If you are a member and you are in our Discord, you can take advantage of a buy two, get one free deal right now. Use that code down there in the Reforge Roast room. That's why I backed up my e-girlfriend to USB just in case. AI about to take over the world? Maybe. Maybe. They're never going to stop making Star Wars. Are you crazy? It's going to outlive us all. I know. Link, you can use the coffee command, or you can go to reforgeroast.com. Coffee command, or you can go to reforgeroast.com. And we are... Oh, that's right. We passed the goal. We passed the goal. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much again, Dan and Brendan, for going huge on the member goal today. I love seeing new folks jump in and help us hit that goal. Help us hit that goal. Last month, it was like 3 or 4 people the whole month really carrying it. It's always good to see some other people pick up the banner. Appreciate that support and that community involvement. We're 19 away. If you want me to do another 5, I'll owe you 5. I owe you 5 currently. I'll owe you 10. I'll be doing that in our daily premiere that we'll be doing. Where's the Reforge Roast channel and Discord? If you're a member, scroll all the way to the bottom. There's partners and swag. There's a Reforge Roast room down there. It's all the way at the bottom in our server. Mac Nightbot. Nightbot acting dumb, huh? Nightbot acting dumb. There you go. I just put the link in chat. I don't know why Nightbot's acting dumb. Nightbot's out to lunch, baby. Wait. Does Nightbot get past the sub-only thing? We're on sub-only. I don't see the room at the bottom. Do we have those rooms too limited or something? Edit the category, permissions. Bro, no, literally no one has permissions to see that category. I just right-clicked on partners and swag, and no one has the ability to see that category for some reason. We may want to double check those settings. I don't know what happened. And very limited amount of permissions are listed there for the coffee room. Yeah, not everybody has permission to see those rooms. If you have no access, you don't have access. Yeah, we're going to have to go check all the permissions on that. I got to get to the membership while I was looking away. I was going to renew it later today, but still massive thanks to the gifter. No worries, Hollow. You can always gift a membership. Pay it forward if you want. I'm a VIP and I don't see it, says Silent Warrior. All right, we'll fix it. Is there another room we can put it in for the time being? All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw it in the members room for now. I'm going to throw it in the members room for now while we sort out the coffee room. All right? If you're a member, the Reforge Lounge members chat has the deal. It has the deal. There you go. Even if you're not going to use the deal, reforgeroast.com, the Frickmas blend has never been this reduced in price, ever. $12.95. That's the lowest I've ever sold coffee for. We've been doing coffee for a couple of years. I couldn't get into general chat yesterday in Discord. That's weird. That shouldn't be happening at all. If you're just tuning in, we've been checking out the latest Jedi Survivor gameplay, and we've been having a little friendly competition between YouTube and Kick. We've been streaming on Kick. In about 15 minutes, we're going to be checking out a brand new video that I have about how AI will change gaming for forever. We're going to be doing an entire series about AI and gaming. We've been checking out Game Informer's footage of Jedi Survivor gameplay. How much is the coffee? We're selling the Frickmas for $12.95. Reforge roast is now cheaper than Game Pass, says Hilly. What does the Frickmas taste like? I'm drinking it this morning. It's a medium roast. It's very crisp. It has like a very seasonal flavor. Like it doesn't have any bitterness at all. All of our coffee has balanced acidity. If you've never tried coffee before with balanced acidity, you should try Reforge roast. You can do the triple threat. Right now, you can do a buy two, get one free. So you can try all three of our flavors, but the dark roast is about to run out. We only have like 5 bags left or something like that. So you'll be able to try the medium roast, which is our Frickmas blend, and then the light roast, which is that's our starting flavor. That's our introductory flavor. That's great for people that like breakfast blends, light roasts, people that are new to coffee. It's the most drinkable of the bunch. Put a little bit of creamer in it. Even people that are not coffee fans like that one. Frickmas is a low acidic custom blend of citrus, chocolate, and green grape with a crisp finish. There you go. There's the flavor description. Thought you on Crossfire was awesome. Thank you very much, everybody that was watching me on Crossfire as well as BRAP, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. We had 2 podcast appearances last month. Appreciate everybody that was supporting that. It was really, really fun. We had a good time on all those podcasts. Be sure to check those podcasts out and support them. And okay. Let me give you guys a member count as well. We are holding steady at 2,500, 2,559, 2,559. So you guys have been bringing the heat and helping us stay at 2,500. Wish I had a coffee maker. They're not that expensive. You can get the little 4-cup coffee makers for very, very cheap, and they do a great job. Like, I got mine at Target, and that's great. You don't need, like, the big honking ones that'll do, like, 14 cups of coffee. Stay at Lono. Reforge is better than Starbucks. I mean, Starbucks tastes burnt and has got a real acidic bite to it. Reforge Roast is the smoothest coffee you can drink. My wife literally used to get coffee from a local coffee shop, and she really liked it, and now she can't get it. She says it doesn't taste as good. Ours is just so much smoother. Yeah, warning, it won't melt. That's right. We wouldn't sell you the trash at Starbucks bottles. Yeah, I would never call Starbucks trash. It tastes burnt. Like they intentionally burn the beans so that the coffee, whether you buy it in, California or Tennessee, it's all going to taste the same, right? Downtown New York, you're in Kentucky, it's going to taste the same. It's going to taste burnt. It's by design. Some of that is in the brewing too. Yeah, it's primarily the roasting of the beans though. They burn them, and it's on purpose. There we go. First order of coffee, taking advantage of the buy one get one, and they got 2 bags of light and a free bag of light. Thank you so much, Raijin. Raijin taking advantage of the deal and snagging himself 3 bags of coffee, getting that 3rd one for free. Oh my god, a Rancor? Yeah, you can fight Rancors in this. All right, you guys got 8 minutes over there on Kick. You're going to want to come over to the YouTube channel if you're wanting to watch this AI premiere about how AI will change gaming for forever. We'll also be hanging out with members after the fact. And you have 8 minutes over here on YouTube if you guys want to get to the next milestone of 50 members on the day. Another order of coffee from Fuzzy. He ordered 3 bags of Frickmas. Didn't use the code. Just decided to take advantage of the sale. Coffee sales say less. You didn't use the code, Fuzzy. If that's what you want to do, If that's what you want to do, baby. He buys the Frickmas. I mean, the Frickmas is still an amazing deal. We have it on sale right now, $12.95. You just didn't use the code. Members, there is a code in the members chat in the Discord. If you're wanting to take advantage of our coffee sale right now and really go big with the buy two, get one, use that code in the members chat. Preacher sounds like he wanted all to himself. Yeah, he put the deal in Reforge Roast and then nobody could see it. So much to compensate for all the stuff folks put in their coffee, but I'd still call it garbage. Tell them to check the coffee channel now. Barrier says you guys should be able to see the coffee channel now. It should be all the way at the bottom of the Discord now. What's the code? No. We're not saying the code in the stream. You have to go into the Discord. Oh, there's no code on the Frickmas? Okay, we are having a really hard time. We're having a super hard time. There's no code for Frickmas. That is a blanket sale. Okay. All right. We are passing in the night. That was not my understanding at all. It was whole site buy two, get one. Get it out of here. Whole site. Double down. There's a sale on the Frickmas, and we're doing a special for members. Code is for members only and only on the light. No, that's not what I said. I want it on the whole site. I want it on the whole site. Putting it on the light doesn't make any sense. I'm not trying to sell light. I'm trying to sell the Frickmas. I think I've had too many conversations about this. That's a loss? No, it's not. We crunched all these numbers. Oh my gosh. Yeah, try 16. Because that's... Hang on. I can't even type. Getting his business degree out. We're giving a special deal to members, right? Frickmas is on sale for everybody. We're giving a special deal to members because we're just my goal is we're getting through the Frickmas inventory. That's the goal. That's my goal at this point. We got it late because they had issues at the coffee company, and it's like, all right, it's April. Let's move this stuff. Let's get it. You guys are going to get a big, great deal. And then we get to the dark roast new bags are on the way, so we'll be fully in the new bags for the dark roast, and then we're gonna move through the Frickmas. That's the goal. Code didn't work on Frickmas or dark. Well, there's only like 5 bags of dark left, so we're not doing the code on the dark. There's literally only 5 bags left. So the dark's about to run out, but you can do a buy two get one as a member on all of the coffee. Is this a loss? It's not a loss. It's not a loss. I crunched the numbers before I made the call. I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to get the Frickmas out of my house. Like, we've had it for far too long, right? It's time for y'all to get a nice I guess it's a bank error in your favor. Coffee company did a great job on the coffee. The printers made a mistake, and you guys are going to get the benefit from it. So they're no longer working with that printer. So we actually showed the members the dark roast bags. The dark roast bags are printed. They look awesome. No more mistakes going forward. It's all been rectified. Right now, we're giving you guys a great deal on the Frickmas. Okay, all right. Members, there is now, I believe there's another code coming, right? There's another code coming. There's one you can use for light roast, buy two, get one. And then there's one you can use on the Frickmas, buy two, get one. Chocobo's confirmed. Yo, what's good, Reckless Gambit? Let me set this up. Yeah, I need to set this up. I've got like 1 minute to set this up. Bam. And where is it? I thought I did and I didn't. Calm. It'll go there. It might not let me. Oh, it did. Okay. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to gift 5 members. We are going to head over to a premiere. It's I'm starting a series about AI in gaming. I believe AI will fundamentally change gaming, and we're going to do a bunch of great videos specifically about it. So if you're watching over on Kick, you're going to need to come over to the YouTube channel, right? Is the code Lono? No, you can get the codes in the Discord. You got to scroll all the way to the bottom. If you're wanting to take advantage of the coffee sale, get in the Discord. It's in the description of the video. This is going to give you guys a reason to finally get in the Discord because a lot of you guys never stepped foot in there, and now we're going to give you a great deal on both our coffees. We're basically out of the dark roast. Anybody that wants to snag the last bags, hurry up and do it, and then I'll thank all these coffee orders in members. We're going to be hanging out in members after the AI video, okay? And I'll thank all the coffee orders in there. Please click the link in chat. I would love it if these AI videos get a lot of support. We're putting a lot of thought and effort into them, and the video is going to premiere in just a minute. I'm going to send you guys over there with redirect. Just in case the redirect doesn't work, it'll be the featured video on the channel, and there's a link in chat. Please head over. As soon as you get over there on this video, smash the like button, and I'll see you guys over there.